This month is all about some underwater themed books, but this story is called The Nantucket Sea Monster, a fake news story. Not a whale! August 7th, 1937, was a warm Saturday on Nantucket Island, just off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Across the island, people opened the weekly edition of the Inquirer and Mirror newspaper and spread it out. There, in the middle of the front page, was a startling headline. A sea monster! Bill Manville says he saw one off Nantucket. Insists he was not dreaming. Hopes it appears again to verify his story. People read the incredible story from fisherman Bill Manville. On Wednesday, August 4th, he had been out of the boat looking for bluefish, and it was about the time they show up. After hours with no luck, he discovered the reason for the missing fish. He saw a terrible-looking head rise 15-20 feet above the water. It wasn't a whale, he insists. I saw the thing with my own eyes about 9:30 this morning. The newspaper story ended. Now, we are waiting to hear from someone else who saw it. Not a whale! Someone else had seen the sea monster. Businessman and sportsman Ed Crocker wrote a letter to the newspaper. He said that on August 4th, the same day as Bill Manville, he saw the denizen of the deep. On Monday, August 9th, Gilbert Gibby Munter was also looking for bluefish. Instead, a flock of gulls flew overhead acting like they were frightened. And then he saw it just outside the breaker waves, closer to the tiny Tuckernuck Island than in Nantucket.
I've never seen anything like it.
The sea monster's head was ugly, with something looking like horns. A light streak ran along its dark greenish side. That back bumped out of the water. Do you think it was the same thing that Manville saw? Asked the newspaper editor. I guess twice the same creature, all right, Gibby said. The story was gaining credibility. After all, the newspaper printed the stories, so it had to be true. More and more people believed the impossible. A sea monster was hovering around their island, and they were scared. Ed and Gibby decided to investigate together. On Tuesday, August 10th, they were walking along Nantucket Beach where they found something incredible. Footprints! Excited, they called the newspaper, who sent photographs. The footprints appeared to be from a web-footed animal. They measured about 66 feet long by 45 wide. A second set of footprints was reported near Smith's Point and was soon photographed. It was reported that these were the first photographs that were made of the sea monster's tracks. The newspaper editor telegraphed scientists in Boston and New York for help to identify the monster, and sent a picture for inspection and desired. If the footprints were that big, how big was the monster itself? Later, on August 10th, the word spread as friends talked to friends. The sea monster had been captured. People flooded the dogs to see it. It's a killer!
Just a whale!
It's just a bunch of purposes of play.
It's just wreckage.
Captain Beaufort Yexer come in. Instead of the sea monster, he had caught 3 big sand sharks. The sea monster was still out there, somewhere. Everyone had something to say about the sea monster. Dewey Sainsbury said, "That fellow came ashore on the east end of the island last night and drank Squanpah dry." Another said that the tracks were so deep that the Coast Guard tractor that he pulled Lester Simmons' cart out of the sea monster's tracks and onto the firm foundation. Across the nation, people read on the Nantucket sea monster and shivered. Meanwhile, Bill Manville asked the Massachusetts head fishing gang warden for information. Would sea monsters be hunted? On Saturday, August 14th, the weekly paper printed eyewitness stories and photographs of the sea monster tracks. Scientists at the Harvard Museum of Zoology and the Boston Aquarium studied the footprint photos and reported back. They both said they didn't know about Captain creature capable of making such tracks. But then, all seemed quiet. When they got there, they couldn't believe their eyes. Suddenly, on Wednesday, August 18th, news came. Tony Sarg had caught the sea monster. It was dragged up onto the south beach. Everyone ran to the beach. Maybe it was just sand sharks again. But they had to see. The sea monster was a huge rubber balloon. It was made by Tony Sarg, the famous puppeteer, and owned the local curiosity shop. Since 1928, he had designed a massive balloons that flew over the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. The 135-foot sea monster was one of the Sarg's balloons. The whole thing had all been a big publicity stunt. The August 21st of the in-quarter mirror explained the operation hoax. Sarg, along with Macy's officials, decided to put a publicity stunt. They would float a balloon near the beach and create a stir. They talked with the newspaper's dish editor and other newsmen on the island and off the island. All the newsmen agreed to go along. Pierce News, with creating newsreels, sent cameramen on August 16th to film a sea monster. The newspaper said, as a result, Nantucket was mentioned the favorable news stories from Cape Cod to California. The actual cash value of the space obtained is difficult to estimate, but will run into many thousands of dollars. R.H. Macy and Company of New York City, the newspaper said, did not intend to commercialize or make money for the event. They were only mentioned because Ms. Sarg had created their balloons. The newspaper story concluded, today no one has reported suffering for the results of the publicity stunt. The Nantucket sea monster flew in the 1937 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and was seen by millions. The